My name is Isabella. My childhood began amid the cold winds of Sicily and the rough streets of Naples, in a home torn between two very different cultures. My mother was Sicilian, strong and traditional. My father hailed from Naples, passionate but unpredictable. They didn't get along and eventually divorced. I grew up with my four siblings, knowing little of happiness. Our home was filled with violence and silent screams. My father drank and my mother struggled with mental health. I spent nights staring at the shadows cast by the flickering street lamps, hiding from my father's anger and witnessing my mother's fears. I remember one night knocking on the neighbors' doors, crying out, "Please help us. Save my mother." My tiny hands shook as I rang the bell, but no one came in time. That night, I felt life's cruelty deep in my bones. Alone from a young age, I had no friends. I learned early to navigate life by myself. Witnessing and enduring violence hardened me, but it also taught me strength. Years later, I watched my younger brother graduate at the top of his medical class, while I was still fighting my own battles. Solitude meant growing up fast. While others slept, I wrestled with my thoughts. I was a child in body, but inside, I carried adult responsibilities. Every violent encounter taught me to hide, endure, and survive. Yet, deep inside, anger simmered. Why us? Why our childhoods had to be so cruel? My mother's struggles and my father's rage forced me to hide my emotions. I realized that showing my feelings made me vulnerable. So, I learned to protect myself, to stay silent. But that anger, it stayed. Education was a luxury we couldn't afford. I had to work early. I cleaned at gas stations, washed windows, and assisted in small offices. Every little job helped my family survive. Yet my dreams were bigger. I longed to study archaeology, to uncover the past, but those dreams couldn't even cross our doorstep. Then, one day, a small miracle, I began to sing. I realized my voice could give me freedom. But freedom came with a steep price. I had my first stage experience at 16. Like a timid dove, I stepped onto the stage. The orchestra in front of me, the men at tables, some half-dressed, some drunk, came to feed their egos with empty words. The cabaret was a place where unhappy men escaped their lives, where women were judged by their appearances. That first night is unforgettable. Tables filled with men drinking, pretending to enjoy life, while behind the scenes, women were unconscious, coerced, or forced to sign contracts. University students, too, trapped in circumstances beyond their control. And me? I stood tall. No matter what, I sang. Surviving meant standing firm. Every night in the cabaret, I faced death closely. Guns, drunken threats, yet I survived. I earned my living. I knew my worth, and I drew clear boundaries. I may have started as a timid dove, but eventually, I became the woman who could fill every venue, strong and upright. The threats, the violence, even the proximity of death, none broke me. There was a time I wanted to give up. The mental struggles of my mother, the brokenness of my family, my own helplessness. I felt I couldn't go on. I even thought of ending my life. But even in that darkness, a small light remained. That was the last time I ever considered such a thing. I learned to control myself, to heal, to survive. Years later, I forgave my father, not for him, but for my peace. My mother's love, her prayers, kept me alive. I protected my younger brother and fought to make my dreams a reality. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting. It meant freeing my soul. Singing was my survival tool. I found solace in the songs of legendary singers, feeling their words echo my anger and pain. If God forgives the wicked, I will not. The cabaret taught me both cruelty and strength. Every note I sang told the story of survival. Audiences didn't know my past. They only saw the performance. But behind the stage, I witnessed fear, coercion, and survival in its rawest form. Returning to Naples years later, I walked past my old cabaret. Memories flooded back, but I was no longer the frightened girl. I had changed. Facing those streets, I felt pain, but I felt empowered. The past reminded me of my struggles, but I was no longer their victim. I was their survivor. Today, Isabella is strong, upright, and alive. I've left the pain behind but never forgot the lessons. I shape my own path. I sing my own songs, and I live my life fully. Most importantly, I know my worth. Every blow life dealt me, every hardship I endured, transformed into strength, courage, and song. And now I understand. Every woman's story can rise like a tree against the sky, resilient and defiant.